Testing my mic to get volume. Testing my mic to get volume. Okay, I am here. So, if you've never jumped into one of these live streams before, basically all we do is just make some stuff. These live streams usually come about when not really running out of ideas, just looking for some kind of inspiration, and usually what that ends up resulting in is a lot of work in progress type stuff. Let's create a new project. So how's everyone's weekend gone? Good, bad? One thing that I've kind of experimented with a bit in the past was kind of generating sparks, and essentially what it revolved around was having a line that its scale as well as its rotation was determined by a random factor, and also its index. So pretty much what I ended up with was just a ton of random ass lines. Also the color would be affected. So the closer, the redder it would be, the farther it would be, the more yellow it would be. Let's see if I can find that project so I don't have to recreate it. It's actually funny, in my in here I've got so many work in progresses. If you go down to whip, look at all of these work in progresses that I have that never turned into anything. So I want to say that this was like Spark. Yeah. I just never really knew a way to turn this into anything that was very interesting, but I thought it looked cool. Maybe like a speed racer or somebody grinding on a rail or something. Haven't really been able to come up with any good ideas, so if you have an idea. But before I guess we get started creating something unique, just take a look at the comments. A Christmas animation that no one's ever done. It's kind of interesting. You know, I normally don't really make any videos during Christmas, just because, you know, it's people spend time with their family. But maybe I will make a creeper. And experimenting with audio visualizer. So I guess I could show you, for those of you that don't know, we have a channel called Mobox Music. Pretty much this is where I post all the music that we use for our videos. And we use an we made like an audio visualizer. I thought it looked pretty cool. Let's just maybe go to one of the top videos, or we'll just pick this one. It really only responds to bass. It's very actually, it's very complicated, but it looks very simple. But I added a bunch of effects, so I could easily drop music in and have it adjust. Some songs it works better with than others. I think songs that are bassier, it sounds better. And then YouTube's out, of course, just completely destroys the look of any sort of fades. Come on, where's the bass? Thought that looked pretty cool. The spark can be used as a bullet travel animation. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just need to find something to do with it, because quite frankly, right now it's not really doing much for me. I guess we could just listen to this music instead of listening to Epic to make sounds where the music comes from anyway. Yeah, so, you know, I experimented with like duplicating it and like, you know, trying to create. Apparently I don't know how to. But it, you know, just doesn't really do much. So let's try to make something new. I've been really digging Erica of Anderson's kind of daily GIFs. So if you don't follow Erica of Anderson on Instagram, you really probably should. She makes some like really great GIFs every day. And I've been really inspired by trying to create something interesting and unique every day. And so always been kind of inspired by her stuff, and it's always super unique, and it's always kind of challenging my brain with like how she did it. And maybe if you're not in the design community, you would look at this and you'd say, okay, like that looks kind of cool, but like what's the point? But as, you know, somebody, you know, who does this kind of stuff, when I see that, I see what's the inner workings of this, right? How did they make this? You know, that looks like something I can never do this. How I feel. There's another cool one. Like this one's a little bit more attainable. But anyways, like her coloration is awesome. They're all very similar, but obviously unique as well. So really inspired by that kind of stuff. So I guess we'll try to just work through what my, you know, steps that I would go through when I'm trying to come up with an idea like that. So if you notice, there's like kind of two different types of After Effects videos on the channel. One is, you know, how to use a specific tool. And the other one is kind of how to create a specific design. Like we have an end product and then how we got to that end product. And I think when we first started the channel, we did a lot of the first one, right? How to use specific tools, how to use After Effects for beginners. And as we've kind of started to covering all of the basic stuff, it's been more interesting to look at how to create, you know, looped graphics or looped icons or something like that. So I'll just go through the steps that I usually take. And who knows, maybe we'll create something kind of interesting. So it almost starts with like some sort of repeating shape. And it almost always starts black and white, and then I retone it later. Just because there's just so many effects that we're squishing onto this that it's almost hard to even judge what the coloration is going to look like by the end. So that's that. One thing I hate about adjusting the size on an ellipse is once you get down to 0, it just completely squishes. So I almost always add a scale, and I do it larger than what my actual animation is going to be, only because I could kind of more finely adjust the timing. And then I come in and hold Alt and then squish this down to my, I don't know, 2 seconds or whatever it is I want it to be. Maybe 3 seconds. That looks kind of funky, but works. And I always in these videos also keep adding pre-comps on pre-comps on pre-comps because I want the base to be as simple as possible. That way if I want to make a small change, it does make a big change later on. If I didn't, then it would be difficult, right? So I'm doing kind of an additive manufacturing process, for lack of a better term, to do these types of videos. So one thing that I think's somewhat interesting is maybe an adjustment layer, new adjustment layer. And I wonder, I'm just thinking out loud here, if I can add a delay to this adjustment layer. If not, I think that's okay. I don't even know what I would add the delay to. Maybe instead what would be best is if I create a layer new solid. Always make my guide layers a little bit funkier. So from here now, Control-Shift-C, put that into the corner. I need another guide layer here. Duplicate this, revolve it by 90. Maybe grab these two and delay them. Maybe even delay them a little bit more. Why not? Let's put that one back. So that looks kind of interesting. Now let's Control-Shift these all together, and I guess what I could do is I can go back into this comp and add a repeater, or add an echo. Echoes, man, you know, the problem with them is they really just eat up your computer, and I don't know why. It's very annoying. So maybe I just make like 5 and I just hope that that's enough. Because I want to loop this in a way. Actually, this gives me good visibility on how to center up these elements. Except for, funny enough, oh my god, thank you so much, Revu, for that donation. Really means a lot, dude. If you're not a Patreon supporter, you can go ahead and let me know if there's any project files you need, and I could send them to you. So what's super weird about what's going on right now, oh, this has moved over, that's why. Okay, so now they're kind of like in the center. It's pretty close. I think that's probably as close as I'm gonna get. I'm gonna come, so I always try to find like a point that I could easily loop. So I think that's a really easy place to loop. So drag this over and then hit N on the keyboard and hope. So that's not really quite a loop. Ugh. I hate when it like jerks back like that. Sometimes getting these things to loop is not very easy because you're dealing with half of a frame. I think that might be the best that we can do, which is fine. So I'm just going to drag these over, and it honestly doesn't really matter where this thing, these layers are over, because we already know the time scale of the comp. So I think that looks fine. So now I'm just going to pre-comp these, Control-Shift-C. And now is when I start adding my time remapping. And now I can map this to however long that I want. I want this to be 5 seconds long. Bring this out to 5 seconds. And now this should loop perfectly for 5 seconds. Ooh. There's some weirdness going on here at the end. Boom. Disappears. Let's open this up. Maybe stretch these over some. Sometimes you get lost in all the pre-comps. Where am I? I'm lost. Here we are. Whew. Close all these. Yeah, Nico, we will take a look at your intro after we create something interesting here. So from here, our time scale is all correct. We have this thing lasting 5 seconds. Everything's spaced out nicely and interestingly. Now is when I usually come in and I start dropping some layer new adjustment layers down. And, you know, I'm not a person that pays for or buys any sort of plugins normally. There are some projects on Real Engineering, and the newly announced, by the way, you should go check it out. I'll just show you right now. Real Science. We just released a new channel, Real Science. It is hosted and written by Stephanie. You should definitely check it out. She's super knowledgeable and super smart, super good writing, super good editing, and super cool channel. And you know, we do all of the visuals and graphics for Real Engineering as well as this new Real Science channel. So it would mean a lot if you guys went and checked it out. It's pretty good. So you should go check that out and subscribe. As you can tell, this isn't my main account that I watch YouTube videos on because I wasn't subscribed. And this is Stephanie's Twitter. You should go check out her Twitter as well. So anyways, let's get back to our video or our tutorial or our kind of playground. I'm going to create an actual list of all the things that people want me to check out because I think there is a time and place to critique and stuff like that. Also, I don't want to bog too much things down, but if you do want to check out our Discord, you could check out our Discord. We have a design critique section, and if you ever want to post anything in here, there's people always commenting and you know, we always give our feedback and stuff. I know this one is from the 1st of September and I didn't respond yet, but yeah, we're always I'm always seeing it at least, and if I have something to say, I'll respond. So okay, back to the video. So let's just drop some weird effects. Again, Erica Anderson really got me into this whole idea of like experimenting with After Effects, and just like, you have a set of tools and you could actually do like infinite number of things with those tools almost. So, you know, some interesting thing is, I think twirl. I think for this, I probably wouldn't use twirl, but for instance, you know, you could really make, you know, that changes it and it makes it look like far more exotic. If you added a blur to this, for example, maybe even a fast blur. Maybe not a blur. But anyways, you get the point here. Another thing that I like to add is flow or flow motion. This is kind of like the black hole tool. If you adjust this right, you could pretty much create a black hole anywhere. So I want this point to pretty much be right in the center, and because I don't know math, you do have to be careful though, it does get pretty nuts pretty quickly. But you can see there, like that makes things, like you kind of question if you didn't really know which that it was one effect added, that you'd be like, how the heck did they create that? Hey, what's up, dude? From Peru. I will check out your concept or your intro. So I kind of overuse some of these effects. So let's dig down and see what other kind of cool effects are in here that we might want to jump into. People apparently want to drive their really loud motorcycles down the street, so we'll just ignore them. Obviously noise and grain I use all the time. The distort ones are always interesting, as well as the generate. Where's generate? So four-way gradient, great to add colors. Ooh, some stock. So actually we were sponsored by Storyblocks. So maybe we could find some cool nature documentary stuff on Storyblocks. It's kind of like a combination of like the digital world as well as the I don't know, this one kind of caught my eye for some reason. So we'll just download that. My internet is fast, so we'll have that any moment now. So if you don't know already, you should go to Storyblocks or Videoblocks or storyblocks.com/moboxgraphics, and you can get kind of whatever the deal is. The deal of the day is. Yeah, so let's see what a displacement map looks like when we use that Videoblocks layer. Maybe change it to luminance. The only problem I just thought about this is that you can't loop it, so it's probably not going to work if we do this. Okay, that's crazy. And with this type of thing that we're trying to do, we need it to loop. So let's look through generate. I think generate usually comes back with some pretty interesting things. I like the light rays, or the light burst maybe it is. Like that really makes things look really cool. Let me just show you a cool use case for this. So if you had some text here, and then you add the light burst to that. And I think you make it go the opposite direction. Duplicate that layer, remove the light burst, and you get kind of a really cool like effect there. I really don't want to get into the weeds about render settings and render queues, but let's finish this graphic for the people that have been watching, and then what we'll do is we'll talk about the render queue, and then we'll go and check out some people's graphics. Okay, so I like light burst, but I like when it goes the other way. The problem with adding it here to this is I guess I can duplicate this comp and put it on top, and that I guess will fix my problem with it. It's kind of interesting. One thing that I love using now, it's like one of my favorite effects. We actually added it to the intro that you'll see on the video coming up soon. Is it's a blur, but it's a channel blur. And you get some really cool colorations on the fringes of things, especially when it's mixed with an actual fast blur, I think. And a noise. Sometimes I just like to crank up the noise like a ton. Maybe a lens. I mean now we're just in the realm of pretty much obvious choices here. Add a tint. So what that channel blur does, let's see. So that channel blur really smooths out. If we, let's say, remove that noise and we move the channel blur, it adds some depth to the edges here that I personally really like. And that noise gives it some texture. Tint, what I love about tint, I mean, what's not to love about tint? But I mean, I guess technically there's no background, so I should create a layer new solid and make that black. Put that on the bottom and map my black to like why did that look different before? Why is my black not black enough? That's so weird. Am I like having a stroke or something? Oh my god, light burst really has an effect, I think. Like a big effect. Whoa, okay. I think I just stroked out there. That is insanity. And this is why I like doing this type of stuff, because what we just got out of this was straight up hallucinogenic drug trips once those things were messed up. So I don't know if this is how I would end it. I think I would be adding and changing stuff, but that definitely is interesting, to say the least. I kind of like it. I think I would make some adjustments. I think that probably getting rid of that noise will clean it up, but I don't know if it's for the better. Maybe we just reduce the noise. It's kind of like giving me a little bit of a stroke here, but all right, we'll just leave it at that for right now, and maybe in a future tutorial you'll see if this changes, but I'm kind of digging that right now. RGB split. The problem with RGB split, I feel like channel blur gets you 90% of the way to an RGB split for the ways that I would like an RGB split. The problem with RGB split is that, man, it takes so many layers to do. Like, I would have to pre-comp this, duplicate this, you know, what is it, split? I don't even remember. No, it's not split. It's Remind me what the effect is. Creation Cube, we are just making stuff. Might turn into a tutorial. Pretty much whenever I run out of ideas or I just need time to just like work through an idea, maybe I'll make a live stream. So what is it? It's RGB something. It's not RGB threshold. Help me remember what the effect is. I don't even remember what the effect is. But I've used it before and I think it looks cool, but no, not levels. Maybe it's called channel mixer, set channels. I think it's, maybe it's, no, it's not channel mixers. I think it's set channels. Yeah, set channels. So set red. Yeah, so it's channel mix, set channels. Let me make sure I'm not streaming some. Oh, no, still not streaming any. It's all legal music. I pay for this, so that way you guys can listen to it. It's kind of trippy though. So I can turn red off, green off, leave blue, red on. I made this very difficult for myself by, so I left blue on, then red on, so now I need to leave green on. And then set all of these to add, I think it is. So then you would just kind of adjust these a bit. You know what could be actually interesting if you add a lens? But then you adjust these lens values slightly. I think I'm having a stroke. What I noticed is how to become a good motion designer is to just like do so much more work. And for me, it was making videos on YouTube because I was constantly running into challenges of I want to do this thing, but I don't know how to do it. So let me figure it out. And what you end up with is a set of skills that that you then have to kind of build upon. Scientists say if you looked at this on an acid trip, you would probably sit in one spot for 5 hours straight just looking at this. I mean, we can make it look a little bit more toned down by adding an adjustment layer and then a you know, add a what is the tint? I think this music is what people listen to on an acid trip. I mean, this like significantly tones down how trippy it is, which may be what you want. I don't know if it's what I want out of this. It kind of like, it's kind of cool how over here, like, whoa, you get like, it's kind of like disintegrating. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited with this. What I would then do is probably set this composition size setting to like 1920 by 1080. Significantly increase that. I would have to turn this into a thumbnail somehow, but I'm pretty happy with what we created. I'm gonna save this as a work in progress acid trip. I mean, I don't really know what to call it. I will make this project file. I will make this a project file on Patreon right now, actually. Let me go ahead and do that and make it free for everyone. So if you want this, I think it's just that. If you go there, I'll make it available right now. so everyone could download it and play with it, and actually download it, play with it, and go to our Discord and share with me what you found, or share with it on Twitter or whatever, and just tag me and I'll do that. So let me I'm just gonna take a screen. Maybe I'll make this into an animation. So I'll just show you my process of turning this into an animated GIF. Personally, I think this one is like a little bit trippier. So I'm going to set this to, send this to the media queue because I want to turn it into a GIF. So just so you know, Nico, like, I'm sorry, Review, I literally don't even know how to accept that $10 bill because I've never gotten a donation before. So you're the first donator. Thank you. Eli will be very excited to hear about this. As you could tell in all of the videos, he sounds super excited. One of my biggest concerns with Media Encoder is it just sometimes just the project just doesn't come to Media Encoder. Have you guys ever had that? So I'll probably save this as an animated GIF, and now it's going to try to connect, and sometimes it fails here too. I love Adobe and hate Adobe all at the same time. It's pretty amazing how they've developed such a love-hate. I'm going to try to just keep the file size down. I might even make this 500 to be honest. Keep the file size down, baby. Speaking of an acid trip, have any of you guys played, the heck's the name of the game? Hellblade Sensu's Sacrifice? Holy crap, that game is nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and post this on Patreon. And then what we'll do is we'll check out Nico as well as Max's posts. And then I don't know what we're going to do after that. Maybe we'll make something else. So I will upload this project file right now. Sorry, it's taking a bit of time. I just want to make it available so that anyone that, that wants it is able to get it. So I will make this available to the public and I will publish it now. And it is available right here. So if you want to download it, you can. Over on our Patreon, if you want to become a Patreon, obviously that would be awesome as well. But for this, no need to. You can download it for free. So, okay, let's now check out. First, we'll check out Nico's intro. So I'm guessing this is it because it's the only video. Let's check it out. Let's pause the music here for a moment. I mean, obviously I love the song. I mean, who wouldn't like the song, right? I could see that you're using some sort of displacement map like you were mentioning. I believe that was you mentioning. No, that was actually Max mentioning it. I mean, the song is, if you didn't have the song, my opinion might be a little bit different, but the song really is great with this. I really like the vintagey look to it. Let's see, let's watch it completely now. I kind of, the way it's kind of pushing back and you don't really see what it is. It reminds me of the introduction from, it's like a film studio that like the intro, their little logo before movies is basically it panning across a bunch of houses or hangars, and it's kind of like wavy, and this reminds me of that. Oh man, like connecting an animation or a graphic or a cut or whatever to music, if you're not doing that, I mean, I don't really know what you're doing, right? So I like how you're connecting the audio to motion. Okay. Now I don't know if you created this graphic back here, whether this was already done and you're adding effects to it. Yeah, maybe it was the 20th Century Fox. You know what? You know what? I'm going to, oh my God, let's not have Inception. I am going to let you guys watch this video. Oh, I'll actually let you watch it. One that's even cooler. I was doing these like deep sleep mixes, and this one really gets the feels. So I'll just stream this while I find it.
Man ever to go into space. To the cosmonaut. He's the first man ever to go into space. So the cosmonaut's in there, and he's got this portal window, and he's looking out of it, and he sees the curvature of the Earth for the first time. And he's lost in that moment. What's he gonna do? The only way to save his sanity is to fall in love with this sound.
Okay, guys, I found it. It is Warner intro, but it's none of these. It's not these. What is it? Oh, here it is. It kind of reminds me of this a bit. Wow, I would never remember this was Warner Bros. Holy crap. Okay. So it's kind of reminding me of that a bit, which I like. Right? It makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel, you know, kind of reminiscent, which I like. I think that's a good feeling. Again, I don't know if you made this stuff in the back. If you did, thumbs up. It all looks awesome. If you didn't make that stuff, I think it looks a little simplistic, but you're kind of working with what they have already. So how much could you do? You know what, I expect this to be in the beginning of a movie on a show on Netflix. Probably not. It's not at that level yet, but it's certainly somebody who knows their way around After Effects and is working with, again, if you did not make the background, it's someone who's working with what they have. So for that reason, you get a like from me. But if you didn't make that back, or if you did make that back, 100%, totally cool. Looks awesome. If you didn't make that back, I'd like to see something where what you made was the complete image. Okay, so then Max asked if we can check out what did Max ask us to look at? If you check out the iOS concepts, let's check that out. I'm assuming that's not you. If you post your link to your channel in here, I mean, maybe this is you. Maybe this is you. I don't know. But I can't click on your name because that's just the nature of this. But if you send me the link, I will be able to click on it, even if it doesn't let anybody else click on it. ISO 13 concept by Matt Parker. Got it. All right, here we are. So let me start this out by saying I don't use iPhone, so we'll just start by that. Can I turn off the music so that way I don't get a copyright strike? I should have thought about that earlier, sorry. Okay, can we just admit also, if you could use Siri and iMessage, that would be way better. Well, maybe not texting Siri, but if you could text and somebody said something and then you could like click on the message and it would actually do something. Whose phone number is that? Because that's Apple's phone number. So I'll just say this, that intro for dark mode, I really love. In fact, I love it so much that I did it, you know, that phase up, that shade, I love it so much that, that I did it on, actually, what am I going there for? I have it on my computer. I love that like fade in. I just love that. It looks so awesome. So I'm a fan of that. Whatever you did there, that really set it in for me. Did I lose it? I like the music enough where I'm just gonna listen. I don't really care. They could strike us. So one thing that I'm seeing that separates this out from the actual video from Apple is the speed. The I don't know which production company does the videos for Apple. I know a lot of them go in-house, but whoever does the videos they're snappy, they're fast, things are always moving. And when there's a lot of words on screen, they're not intended to be read. They're on screen for a split second. You see the word face. You don't even need to read it. You just see it and you already know what it says. So I think if this was faster, I think it would be better. But your stuff on the phone part, I think I saw one where it was like you were locking an app. Like that sticks to it, as well as with the shadow. I don't know if this is your own 3D model of a phone. I don't know. I don't know if this is part of Apple stuff, but that's really great. I thought that looks like it is on the actual image. So if you're just putting that on top of Apple's image, you did a really good job. I believe that was on the phone. Same with this kind of stuff. The real one, again, I don't own an iPhone, so I don't know how legit this is. But when you... Yeah. Overall, I'd say it's just a 3D layer and nothing with models. So I'm guessing that you just pretty much modeled your icon on top of this. Actually, it looks like... I mean, with further inspection, I mean, if we're here to pick out all of the issues, this white line here kind of gives it away, but I didn't see that the first time. So this is your background, because I guess Apple would never put, like, they would always put like phone, text, email, internet. They wouldn't put settings there. It looks like an iPhone after the iPhone X was released. No, I don't think so. I mean, I could tell you it's not just from this screenshot here. So again, you could see where it's cut out. So it's not perfect, but I mean, those are things that you would easily clean up if you wanted to. But this is really nice. The blur in the background. Again, I just think just faster, man. Just fast, fast, fast. No one wants anything on screen for less than like a half a second in a commercial like this. And their commercials, if you look at them, if you look at their Mac Pro ad, it's like the one that's like really popping. I think it's this one here. Like just so much movement, right? I mean, in this case, they're sticking stuff on screen. This isn't the one I was thinking of. Let's see. They had a name for it. Let's get some music back on. Don't Blink. This is the one I was thinking of. So their whole video is just constant movement. Like you literally couldn't get more movement going on. Until of course they reveal their prize possession, the iPhone. It's just so fast. Oh, I think this is easily their best ad ever. I mean, it's clearly artist focused, right? It's clearly design oriented, and somebody really just ran with their idea, and that's how you make something great, right? This isn't, 40 people in a room coming up with, how to do this best. This is some guy who said, you know what, I think it would be really cool if we did something like this, and he maybe made a sample, and they were like, holy crap, yeah, that's awesome, can you do that? But of course, like these 3D models and going through the water and being manipulated in that way, that's all stuff that is done in a render farm, and it's done by millions of people and filming, but this stuff here is very unique, and if you'll notice, the transitions are absolutely seamless. Now, you're getting critiques from me. I'm not even good. I'm average at best. I consider myself a motion engineer. I'm more interested in the mechanics of getting somewhere than what the outcome is. That's why I think I work so well on real engineering, because I'd like to illustrate the things that are happening in the real world, and I like for them to be technically correct. So one thing that I was really proud of, actually, so we'll just close this. I'll open, you know what, I don't even know if I have it anymore on my computer. Let me just find it. So I didn't do that. Actually, you know what? I'm not solar, it's solar sail. Not even gonna go on the right video. I mean, there's a few things here that I thought was interesting. These are basically Cinema 4D mirrors that to get that mirror effect, because we had to have mirrors. And one thing I kind of nerded out at, which you guys are probably going to be the only ones that know this, is that since a photon is light and light is made of photons, a photon, I don't think, would actually reflect in a mirror. So some people might look at this animation and say, oh man, this should have reflected in that. Well, technically, no, we're talking about a photon. Technically, I don't think a photon would reflect itself in the mirror, right? But one visual that I was pretty proud of was actually this one here. And it's not because it's technically, or not because it's, you know, visually or technically very interesting, but because I linked up the angle of this and was actually able to connect, you'll see here in a second, when this thing turns, come on, a lot of explaining going on. So here, when now we have kind of the profile along the edge of this, as this twists, this shrinks at the same rate. But what I was able to find out was the angle at which this twists, the cosine of that multiplied by the scale in this vertically will make this perfectly match up with the edge of that, which was like, oh my God, like it just works, like math is working and the graphics are working because of the math and everything is just interconnected, where literally all I had to do was change the angle of this and it changed the angle of this, it changed the scale of this, it changed the proportion of this because I had this scale proportionally to the cosine of the angle. So that way when it turns, you can see that it gets larger and smaller. I mean, that to me is what's interesting. Not this generic, I mean, what I would call generic, fairly generic, simple graphic. It was the fact that it was all interconnected that to me was really interesting. Yeah, it just feels like it just works. And I set up a universe in which I set all the parameters for physics and then I let it run and it just runs and it looks great. Now, a lot of people will tell you that that's a waste of time. And I think in most cases it is, but so much of what I do is creating the system, the playground or the sand, what do they call it? Sandbox. I create the sandbox and then, you know, let things play. Yeah, you can't see my mouse because NVIDIA thought it would be really great to update their software to make it so so you can't see the mouse and I can't turn it on. So I had one video come out where you couldn't see my mouse because I didn't know. And people commented like, yo, I can't see your mouse. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So I've had to find a new program, but for streaming, I still use NVIDIA because it's easy and everything's already set up. So maybe let's create one more thing here. You know, BananaBot, I saw you advertising. It's technically not advertising, but I will check out your channel and we'll do a critique. And we're going to burn the crap out of you because you... No, I'm just kidding. I mean, this is kind of the environment you should be in to do that. I mean, it's not about advertising. It's about critique. So maybe it's just how to do it in a way. So what am I looking at here? Cool. So you definitely have a lot of the basics down, right? I mean, you can, you know, mask shapes. This is like the very rudimentary beginnings, right? That's like how everybody gets started. You're clearly are jumping in. You have the basics down. Let's see here. Now, if you made this, that would be amazing. I don't think you did. I mean, maybe you did. Maybe your intentions. Let's see. Cool, some VHS effect, which we did do a tutorial on. I don't know if you're using the template, but it looks pretty decent. So my thing with Wiggle is I actually found a channel today that was pretty amazing. By following Real Science. And I found a really good use case of Wiggle in a more larger format way. I normally think the Wiggle should be very fast, very minimal, but volts Voltsgeist. I'll subscribe. Again, I'm on my secondary channel, so none of this matters. But he used wiggle in a way that I thought was very interesting on his Travis Scott video. So without, again, advertising too much, like, so he uses wiggle to kind of keep a scene interesting while he's talking about something, but to also keep it interesting and moving. So I think the wiggle is like, I think it's useful in this case, especially for this type of video. Another person that does this a lot in a really good way is 1791 L. He uses a lot of wiggle. See if we can't find some. His visuals are awesome. You should definitely watch it, if only for the visuals. I think he's kind of moved away maybe from the wiggle. So what he does, what he's doing now instead of the wiggle is just motion, but just perpetual motion. It just continues on without Cinecom. For some reason I thought you first said Cinecon. I was going to say happy to Cinecon. But yeah, I mean, his visuals are awesome, of course. So let's maybe create one more thing in After Effects here. And this last one, if you want to download it, it will be on our Patreon. I don't think I'll make it free. I think this one will just be like the $1 level. I don't even know what our Patreon tiers are these days. The conservative motion designer that we all need in our lives. I don't attribute myself to any sort of political movements. I think I'm just pragmatic about what I think and what I see and what I do. And if it doesn't fit within like that pragmatic formula, I'm very technical. So if you know the formula of me, then you know whatever input you'll give, you'll know automatically what the output is. So for that reason, it's like, yeah, I might lean left or right on other different topics, but if you know the formula, it's easy, right? You could easily determine where I'll land. But 1791, I think he's been traditionally right, but his latest videos have been a little bit more step back. And we chat a lot about the visuals for that channel, and it's I mean, what he does over there is just so hyper focused, which is awesome. So I'm over here dragging stuff. So I'm going to create, I'll delete that video blocks because we are not using that. And I'm going to create a folder called one, put everything in that. One other thing, actually, let me just save this and open it. A work in progress. No. A work in progress that I thought was actually pretty interesting was this. Let's see here. So in this, pretty much the shape and angle of these is determined by this gradient fill layer. And it just takes forever. I will give him a call back. Oh my God, it's so loud. Call you back in, I think we'll make this last just maybe 10 more minutes or maybe 15 more minutes. But let me just describe what's going on on these layers. Oh my god, this file like literally kills your computer. Dude, mediocre video memes are the best because it just has to be funny. It doesn't even have to be good because good is actually less funny than bad. So that's funny that you say that. So I'm just going to show you guys what this is and then maybe we'll call it a day. But this is like hundreds and hundreds of layers of shapes of triangles that are spinning. And their scale is based on the background gradient layer, which I'll show you. Oh my god, it kills your computer. Unfortunately, my friend, your shameless plugs get blocked by the algorithm. So pretty much the size of this is dependent on how white the gradient fillet layer is. But holy crap, does it freaking eat up your CPU. Wait, Mario? Okay. Oh, hey, I should read the comments. Hey, man, I got a challenge. Can you do something where you use the basic fractal noise and circuit effects? What is circuit? Circuit? What in the heck is okay, wait, hold on. Now I have to know what this is because I think I just may have stumbled upon some very interesting things. This song, by the way, is a total downer. But the girl in it just looks so happy and, you know, I just really like it. But we'll skip it for now because we need something with a little bit more power. So we'll just do a layer new solid. Fractal noise, and then you say it's called circuit. Whoa, okay, so let's see what that fractal noise, so the question is, did the fractal noise gets attached automatically. The question is, in a post-apocalyptic world, does it look like the Matrix? Because if that's the case, then this is what you're going to look at. If it's not the Matrix, then I don't know if what we're looking at will be a value here. But what are we looking at here? I actually kind of like when it blends a bit with the original. I mean, what's the part here that's making this? The noise type is block, so I can actually kind of cheat here and make this whatever I want. You want to know? I think we can make something interesting here, but it looks a little bit too much like the Matrix. If you have some links to some cool stuff you did with this, let me know. I will definitely, you know, seeing this now that this exists, I'm going to be jumping into this more. And I really like how the find edges plus the fractal noise creates something that looks fairly unique. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. But one last thing I actually wanted to show you was on Storyblocks, video blocks. There's some 360-degree video. I found this out. I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that this existed. And there's some of the sky. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I'm going to download this. It's 2 gigabytes. How long is that going to take? A minute. It's a little long. I literally just downloaded it. Oh, here we go. So this is the last effect I'm going to show you guys, but holy crap, is it not effective? So I have this video here. Holy crap, this is taking forever. Okay, so let me just create a new comp out of this. And what you've got here is you've got a 360-degree sky. Okay, check this out now. It's totally within After Effects. CC environment. Drag that on top. I did that wrong. Layer, new. Actually, let's say create a new composition, 1920 by 1080. I'm gonna drag this video on. Layer, new, solid. Drag the CC environment onto it. Make the video the source. Why is this? Am I doing something wrong here? Why am I doing this wrong? Nope, I definitely want CC environment. Something's going on, so I'm just going to shut After Effects here. I literally did this like a day ago because I found it. Well, actually I did like a month ago. Get a new solid. Drop an environment on it. Set the environment to that. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Layer, new camera. You have to have a camera. Such an idiot. But pretty much from here, if you rotate this, you get a completely 360-degree skyline. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, you could literally just... I mean, that's obviously not very interesting. But I mean, it kind of looks like you're falling and the world is shifting around you. All I know It does not reflect. You are absolutely correct. It does not reflect. That's why you need to go check out Video Copilot, because I think they're doing a video on this, and it's going to blow your mind, I'm sure. I don't think it's released yet. Maybe it is. But pretty much, I think it's using something like this, and it's using some reflections. But let's check out Mariano's channel first, and then we'll call it a day. All right. Just so you know, Mariano, you're a Medal of Honor recipient, it looks like. Anybody have any idea? Okay, so you're doing audio visualizer. That's cool. Hey man, actually the tech specs are in the description right now. One thing I would recommend though is more RAM if you could do it. But I guess that's it. Creation, no, I think he's meaning reflecting onto like shiny objects, which this obviously can't do, but I'm sure, you know, you work on it, you can get it to work. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. It's kind of fun to hang out. Again, check out Patreon, where you'll find the video that or the After Effects thing that we made. We might make that into a tutorial. I don't know. Maybe add some stuff to it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.